Hotep. I don't even know if I'm in the screen here, but Hotep. Is this a good angle? Okay. So peace to the family if you out there. Join on. What we talking about, my man? What's happening? Tonight, what we talking about, Nwasha brought a good topic to me. Something that we talk about often with the 52 Date Night Challenge is dating. And then obviously there's an article that's floating around about a sister, young sister. So we give her some room.
Hey, what's up?
She said that she was a little bit, she felt like she was too good for Groupon dating. And I understand that concept. So we got excited about it because we talk about dating all the time. It's very important for married couples to date. But we'll get into it. So what you want to say? What you want to jump in?
Well, first of all, did anybody see it? So it was an article. It's like a couple days
What's up,
ago
Jessica?
From Twitter. But then, of course, BET, as Black Entertainment Television, put out an article basically just talking about the comments that she
what's
got.
up, brother?
But we thought it was interesting because Groupon actually came out and said they gave a coupon to everybody using the coupon code Date Night. So since tomorrow is Date Night for us, and it's part of the Date Night Challenge, and we don't know what day you're doing your date night, but we just said, what do you think?
We might have to rearrange date night too. I'll tell you.
Okay, yeah, let's have that conversation off live because this is Montsho's third week in a row attempting date night. I think I should just jump in and he should skip a time. But that's another conversation.
It's my date night at home and it's been a mess.
That's another conversation.
The last couple of weeks, date night can go. You know what I want to say to the brothers, first of all.
Hey, Imani.
Hotep to my sister, beautiful Imani. But I want to say to the brothers and to the sisters, Brother Mustafa, much love and peace. I think for men, a lot of times in this culture, and in general, there is a certain social pressure when it comes to dating. And, I think it's kind of whack because I wanted to talk about in a second the difference between courting, dating, and mating, because I believe there is a difference. And we talk about it with our 52 Date Night Challenge. But I think that there is a certain level of pressure when it comes to men. And one of the things that I would like to do for brothers and for sisters is to alleviate that pressure so that we can really just kind of get into each other and, see what's really good other than the fairy taleism or the superheroism that American hip hop culture kind of pushes. So I just want to say that, brothers, I can help relieve you from this pressure.
There's nothing wrong. First of all, if you're on Groupon, there are things on Groupon from $10. Who's ever used Groupon before? Have you ever used Groupon? I don't even know if this young lady has had a chance to actually even really use Groupon. She might have just been saying something, because you know how it is on social media when you put a post out or a tweet. You might not even really know what you're talking about. But there's trips on Groupon. There are cruises on Groupon. I don't think it's a terrible thing to save money. So I think it's about what you say it means. If you think that somebody getting a 20% discount or even a 50% discount means that you're only worth 50%, then that's what it's going to be, because that's what you think it means. If you say, oh, this is great that this person looked around for something interesting to do, that, I've tried Groupon for some of our dates based on, I'm not sure what it is. I've done it with the girls, with my daughters.
Nandi, what's up, Tanya?
Here's a children's place that I'm not sure how it's going to be. If we're going to try it out for the first time, and I don't know if the girls are even going to like it, I'm going to, if it's available, I'm going to take a discount. I don't know what the big deal is.
I think that, the underlying issue is something we just were working in Philadelphia last weekend, and we had a great presentation at 365 Black at the Church of the Advocate. And in the question and answer part, someone had asked about relationships and money. And Nwasha gave a very Nwasha answer. It was very thorough. And then it was very well balanced. My answer was a little bit more ignorant. And basically what I said was that, ignorant, not ignorant, but ignorant. In the sense that I said black people and money, especially when it comes to relationships, black people as a whole, we don't do very well with money under this system. And I'm not talking about the everyday person. I'm talking about the billionaires and all of them, because there are individuals in our community who possess the resources to free all of us. And I'm not just talking about the Oprahs or the Jay-Z's. I'm talking about us as thousandaires. So we have the three things that were damaged in our enslavement was the mating, the science of mating, the science of diet, and the science of economy. And so we're very, when you start talking about money and relationships, it's very, very, it's a very touchy subject for people because, like Nwasha said, it's all about your meaning and it's about your history as well. We have some millionaire friends and have hung out with them, and they don't have the hang up with money that a lot of our poorer friends seem to have. And so I find it interesting that the people without money are always the ones who talk in this like your measurement is financial. So I find that interesting socially, but I just think that overall, when you start talking about money, especially in the dating concept, you're talking about something that really is something that, it really is an individual meaning, So what is dating about? So,
Well, I just think that we're missing the idea of having experiences to get to know each other better. So if we're saying we're courting, we're dating, and the whole purpose is to do new things, to share experiences, that's what you should be thinking about. Sometimes we talk about the date night challenge. We say you shouldn't spend any money. What can you do that's the most creative thing where you can actually spend time getting to know someone? And then other times we say the amount of money that you spend is unlimited. So that's a wide range. But when I read it, it reminded me of how people are with their weddings. So like we have in the Accommodate book that the average wedding in the U.S. is $26,000 to $30,000. So that's the average, of course, because some people spend a lot. You know about averages. Some people don't spend anything. But the idea that you would spend $26,000 on a wedding, and a lot of people don't have that much invested in their marriage. Right. So you didn't take any kind of counseling to the tune of $26,000. But for one day, one ceremony, you're willing to pay $26,000. So I just think it's similar to that.
Right.
I feel like there's a mood, and I think it comes sometimes when women are not valued. When we talk about weddings, definitely is a woman's day because the woman buys everything, right? The flowers and the food and the dress. And the men tend to rent their tuxedo or wear a suit or something like that. So the investment on what is love worth, it's a monetary investment that a lot of times the women have an expectation for. That we're saying, if you don't do this, you don't really love us. And I think that we need to really do better with our group economics. Anyway, the idea of Groupon is amazing to me. The first time I used it had to be like 10 years ago. And I actually went to Sunyata Aman's Belly Dance, the Boca Festival on a Groupon, I think the second year. So the first year I went, spent hundreds of dollars. The second year, she was promoting it more and wanting more people to come, and did the whole weekend, I think it was like $100, which was a supreme deal. Took nothing off of the experience. It actually added to the experience for me at the time because I was able to invite a friend. My best friend and my sister came with me because it was on a Groupon.
Yeah.
I think that it just depends. Excuse me.
No, go ahead.
I just think it depends on what is the purpose of being asked out. I think sometimes we're not loving ourselves as women. We don't have a high practice with self-love. So when somebody asks us out on a date, we're trying to ring it for what we can get. Right. And sometimes I think when you're young and maybe you're in your 20s, you're saying, hey, the more that this person spends on me, the more they actually like me. And that's not the case. It could just be what the person wants to spend or what they want to do. And we just need to learn how to take someone's interest and, entertain someone's interest as a woman, show who we're interested in and actually grow a relationship. Not just ask for things and not just feel like we are then obligated to have sex and to do different things just because somebody paid $200 on dessert.
Look, black people crazy, right? And so, you know, and that's not a diss. That is a reality based on our condition. You know, everybody during this time of imperfection is somewhat crazy, but us especially, because we've been victimized. And like Glo said, we are skewed and have placed a slave master value on our value. And so we're looking for tokens of value that really are superficial. But I know when we talk about purpose or we talk about definitions, I like to keep it simplistic when you're talking to our people, because there's even a confusion as to, we talk about courting, mating, and dating. And I would just like to say this. There is a difference between courting, mating, and dating, and I'll give you a quick one. Courting is an interview process. It's something that you're doing with a person who you're attracted to, either physically or personality, you know, in terms of their personality or socially, and you're looking to take that relationship beyond platonic interaction. So you're looking to take it into some kind of intimacy or some kind of commitment. Mating is what you're doing once you're together. So Nwasha and I are 16 years into mating. You know, we've been together for 16 years and we're harmonizing styles, still getting to know each other, still getting to know ourselves, and perfecting our character through the process. Dating is what you actually do to grow together and to stay together. So many times in relationships, people say that we just grew apart. And almost always, we're students of relationships. You know, we're teachers, but we're good teachers because we're good students. And we apply what we get from good master teachers. And you all are some of our best master teachers. So we talk to people often whose relationships have failed. And when they say this thing, we grew apart, what we see is that they did not plan to grow together. How you plan to grow together is through dating. And dating is something that you're doing if you're a married couple. It's really like after commitment. So a lot of times we misnomer courting as dating, because courting is really not dating. Courting is something that you do with a person that you're attempting to advance the relationship. And then dating is, we are planning activity that will bolster the love and the connection in our relationship, the intimacy in our relationship. So that distinction has to be made. Those three things: courting, dating, mating.
So whoever is still on with us, what's a great date? What's one of the best dates that you actually remember? We want to kind of get a feel for what other people think of as a great date.
What was a great date we had?
What was a great date? Actually, one of our first dates, we just took a walk. So how...
on a loggy? That one?
Yes. How inexpensive is that?
Yes.
That one was free, but it was still one of my favorites, even after 16 years.
Right.
Montsho, I kind of like just asked him to tell me a story or, you know, say something. I was looking for him to see how good he was on the spot with coming up with something. And he actually... We had a great conversation on a walk along, you know, in a park along some water. I thought it was great, and I still remember it 16 years later. But I also liked some of the dates that we had meeting for lunch.
Sway, what's up, Sway?
In the beginning when we were just courting. So I think like I have enjoyed shows, concerts. Of course, you know, we've been together for 16 years, so I've enjoyed a lot of different things. But in the beginning, like what this young lady was talking about, I really had a great time going for a walk. I feel like we got to know each other without...
pretense.
Right.
Definitely without pretense.
Without the distraction. Yeah, because I don't know if you... I don't know. I'm not the type
was
of person
very,
to just like go out to dinner. And I do think that for the most part, men... have always
Lacey, what's up?
paid for dates
Right.
for me.
Right.
For until I was really married and wanting to do something for my husband, or in committed relationships and doing something for a birthday or anniversary and different just gifts and special occasions. But what's traditionally a date, the men that I have dated have paid. So I'm not saying that everything should be Dutch or everything should be free. I'm just saying that the point of the date,
my man Stacy, what's up, brother?
the purpose of the date is to get to know someone.
Right.
You know, so I'm like, even now, Most of the time, unless we're doing a date night challenge.
Love you too, Lacey.
Where we're alternating. The point of alternating is for the creativity.
Right.
I really don't even think it's not about the money. It's about the creativity. Like, show your style. Have you been paying attention what the other person's talking about so that you can really say, hey, this is something you were talking about, or this is just something I was talking about that I want to share with you.
Right.
And then we're going to have this experience. And we always say the part that we haven't done in the last couple of weeks, I'm going to say the last like 5 date nights, we have not evaluated the date. So like we like to say...
The last couple we did, you told me they were whack. We evaluated it quick. She said this date is horrible.
Well, we didn't evaluate it.
I concurred. I agree. It was whack. You know what I mean? Like, you have some bomb nights. That's just what it is.
But you're still A plus average.
I think that the other reason why it's important to share dates back and forth. Now, if you're a committed couple and you live together, or you're committed and you have 2 different places. Our 52 date night challenges, it has 2 dates in the house and 2 dates out of the house. She plans 2, 1 in and 1 out, and he plans 2, 1 in and 1 out. The reason why that's important is because black men and women, but especially black women, you really have to get out of this fairy tale syndrome that a lot of y'all are in. And I'm not being condescending or trying to talk down to you, but what is the point of you being in a relationship or you courting and a man is taking you out all the time? I mean, there should be a balance in the dating. And even if let's just say if you have some kind of chivalrous mentality, even if you're suggesting that he pays, if I'm dating a woman, if I'm single and I'm dating a woman, I want to see what you're into. I want to see what you like. And I want to see what you would like to share with me as a date. Because I think that's important.
Has paid for the majority of our dates.
Hell yeah!
I think that there's a place, there's a place for a woman to be
even today.
Shown that they're valuable, and it's not all about money. But if you look culturally around the world, many times it's the woman you're giving a dowry for what was her protection, her cultivation, her learning.
Maybe in the mating. Maybe in the mating.
Right. But we're saying that hopefully the dating, hopefully the courting would lead to mating and dating. Right. So that's what's not happening.
But that's why there is a distinction between courting, which is the proposal or the interview, mating, which is the harmonizing of styles once we're already committed. So you can't mate with somebody unless you're already with them.
I'd say runs away.
And then dating is something that you're doing to grow together. And I think this is important for people, for a lot of sisters that I have worked with in our practice. A lot of sisters who complain that they weren't fulfilled in their relationship. Because what begins to happen, the imbalance that begins to happen is the relationship starts to have the style of the man primarily. And it doesn't have the style of the woman in balance. And the reason it doesn't is because she isn't taking the lead in the dating. And so there has to be an alternating, a back and forth where you plan a date and she plans a date. And then that way there's a mutuality that's experienced. And then, we can see like, okay, if, like Nwasha said, my last 2 dates was whack, your dates get ready to come up. So we get ready.
Mine's going to be wonderful.
We get ready to see. And they usually are, 9 times out of 10. But you have had some bombs.
And that's going to happen.
We both have had some bombs. And so that's just the reality of it. Hey, Glow, about
but let me just say
a dutter.
I think that what
Jay
is
Son,
the
what's up?
Sense of entitlement.
Joanna, how you doing, Queen?
That's a really good point. I think that because we do talk about the sense of entitlement that women have, even when it comes to Valentine's Day, which is why we said, a coma day is better, a cultural alternative.
Right.
But even in weddings, like you don't want to be a bridezilla, like the sense of entitlement is extreme, but I feel that it's an effect of abuse. And I think it's incorrect.
Yes.
Because it's definitely, the pendulum has swung too far.
Right.
But to me, it's the same as feminist arguments. The only reason that there's a feminist argument is because of
Misogyny.
racism, white supremacy.
Right.
So, but if you can't mark something, if you're like,
The
I'm getting
autobiography
abused.
of Dutter X.
I'm getting abused and I am not valued, I want to see how much I'm valued now on the date. So I think that a lot of times we are, money has a value because we say that it does, In actuality, it doesn't have a lot of value. It's just, we're just printing on paper, right? And we're saying that our money is backed up by something.
New Jersey royalty. Bonnie Watson Coleman. Hotel Bonnie Watson Coleman. We're talking about dating. Mating and courting. What's the difference? And I know she's from a generation where courting was more prevalent. It was actually done more correctly in terms of our autochthonous culture because, coming from the South, all the families came from the South directly or indirectly. They were a couple generations removed from our indigenous cultures. And so some of the things we did, like dowries and the things you're talking about, were still intact. So one of the things I always say with women is, you can't, in the courting process, you can't even court by yourself. That's not something that you should be able to do by yourself because of infatuation and because of the social misogyny and the slant in the man's favor, he can run some game on you if he's older, if whatever, if he's more experienced, and you could get caught up, not even in the dangers, the physical dangers and the certain things that you could be exposed to, but just your perspective can be skewed as well with men because we are very visual. We are very conceptual in this thing when we feel like we're digging a sister. And if we feel like we digging her and she's saying and doing things that are whack, sometimes we may be glassed over and not be able to see that this is not exactly what is right for you. Because again, when we're talking about courting, when we're talking about mating and we're talking about dating, the first key step is purpose. Why are you doing it? Some people are just, I hear so many people say, I'm not really into this person. I'm just going out on a date. That's more of an indictment of your problem than it is the date. You know what I mean? Than the dude. You have a problem because you can't find entertainment or you're not enjoying your own company enough. So you're going to go out with somebody who you're not interested in.
Yeah, I've definitely
that's saying something about you. That's saying something about you because
But let me just say,
you could just spend some time with yourself.
A lot of people don't even know what a date is. So we have this conversation a lot because sometimes we hear women say, I was going on a date, or they call things a date that aren't really a date. And men are definitely doing that. So you're having sex with women that you're not really interested in, maybe buying things for women, or however you're keeping the relationship going along. So I don't want to say stringing somebody along, but
that's
you're doing whatever.
That's street culture. A date is pimp and whore talk. That's what they call it. When you turn in a trick, they call that dating. You know what I mean? So a lot of us men, especially a couple generations ago, maybe not so much now, but a couple generations ago, if you grew up in the 60s, the 70s, hey, that's what prostitutes used to say. You want to date? You know what I'm saying? If you from Trenton, you go around the train station. They was all over there. They used to make the front of the paper, you know what I mean? And they used to, I remember when we was in high school, I was a teenager, we used to just ride down here to see them. And, they would see we were kids and they would, like, get out of here or whatever. But if you just watch some of them, they walk up to a man and say, you want to date? And what that means, you want to pay for sex. So that type of misnomering is the kind of thing that we're plagued with when we talking about dating. Most of the people who talking about dating, they're talking about fulfill my insecurity of passing time. And because I have low self-esteem and no value, I want somebody to pay for me and really impress me to show that I'm valuable. And that's whack.
So I want to still see if you are listening, what was your favorite date? So I gave one of mine. What was one of yours?
One of my favorite dates, definitely it was a great date when we went to the Prince concert, but that was big. I'm gonna say my favorite date was, I'm gonna say, our first date at my apartment when you came over, and it was so funny. We had lunch. No, not that. I'm talking about. Oh, that wasn't our first date. You're right. This wasn't our first date, but it was one of our big time dates. I had just moved into a new place. I didn't have any furniture. I had one seat in my place, and so I was like, "Yo, have a seat, have the seat." I said, "Have the seat." And so
I actually thought that was really funny.
We ended up sitting on each other's lap.
Bonus point for being funny.
She ended up sitting on my lap, and of all the things, I didn't have cable. So we ended up watching, I had one of my son's DVDs, and we ended up watching, what was it, Ants?
No, Bug's Life.
Bug's Life, yeah. We ended up watching Bug's Life, and we got the conversation about Bug's Life, had a meal, and that was it. And so that was one of the best dates we had. But I think that what we learned there and what became the style, even when we've had lots of money and we've done incredible things for dates for 3-4 days, what we saw is really what dating is about is building intimacy. And the problem that I see a lot of times is that people that talk that jazz about, how good is the date or whatever, there are the same people who lack intimacy in their relationships, and they're unable to produce intimacy. Do you deserve to have a nice time? Yes. Should you be taken out and shown a great time? And should you be able to take your partner out and show them a great time? Yes. But can you produce real intimacy in your relationship? You can't just do that around the house or on the phone. You have to do that with planned activity. And that planned activity is a date. And that date, it has to be thoughtful, based around the service, because love is service. Peace, Angelo. Based around the service to your partner. And that's the part that's missing in relationships.
You can have, I think, you can have service in the house. Like we're saying, 2 of the dates are in our house. It's
right.
About, especially I think for women, some of the nurturing and cultivating of intimacy, if you're in any kind of, and I'm going with, traditional or base masculine, feminine energy. Of course, we all fluctuate, on what is our expression of femininity or masculinity. But I'm saying if you are cultivating a certain kind of intimacy inside of the house, I don't think there's anything wrong with a man taking the lead on some dates.
Blanca.
Especially in the
Peace,
beginning,
Blanca.
when you are when you're courting. But I just think it's an interesting idea to say, what if I look at my dating history, my courting history, what was the best date? So I'm still waiting for somebody to say what the best date was. Are you telling me
What's the best date you ever had? While you think about it,
you haven't had any good dates? Tell me that you had a good date, and what was the best one that you had? I'm waiting for someone to say just a 3-sentence scenario.
I'm looking at my note, and I just want to say again, dating is not about money. Black people, spend as much money as you want. If you look at the rules of the 52 Date Night Challenge, we say that we keep the dating out of the house keep maximum $25 to $50. Now that's not a lot of money, but we did that purposely. Number 1, to save economy. Number 2, we say spend that money in the black community first if you can, with black-owned businesses and experiences. But 3, what we wanted to focus on was that really get into each other. Go somewhere where you could really spend time together, hold hands. That's one of the most intimate things you could do, hold hands. For some people, it's more intimate than sex. Look in each other's eyes, talk to each other. You know what I mean? Spend time with each other and have real conversation. Because sometimes what happens in hip hop culture in America, the date becomes a distraction from getting into the person. So if you do, like I had said, that one date we went to that Prince concert, the Sade concert. We've been to a lot of concerts, but that's too big of a thing to get into a person. You know what I mean? Sometimes a movie is not, you're looking forward, if she fine, you cutting your eye over, looking at her thigh or something, but you're really not able to really get into her in terms of, what is she with? And a lot of people have dinner in the movie, but a lot of times, if the dinner is after the movie, you're talking about the movie. If the dinner is before the movie, you know, unless you're having a long date, because the average movie is like 90 minutes or 75 minutes, dinner is quick because you're going to the movie.
Right.
So, you know, I still feel like when you add, and you know I love movies, I feel like when you add movies in, it becomes more of an event around outside of the connection. I just think that the date should really be about 75% of the time, the date should be about where are you at right now emotionally, where are you at mentally, what's on your mind, what are your dreams, what are your fears. Those things that create real intimacy in a relationship is what a date should be about, and just the time to be together. If you're a married couple like us and you have children like we do and all of that, it's just time to get out and just, or stay in and just be into each other, because you can be about the business of the family so much. These are the things that start to make you grow apart, as people say. So the antithesis of growing apart, again, is to plan to grow together. If you do not plan to grow together, you most certainly will grow apart. And so that's my piece on it. You know, nobody ain't sharing a date. I hope that somebody.
Maybe everybody's out on a date because.
Oh, maybe that's what it is. Or they watching the game. They watching the NCAA.
It's a Saturday night, so it could be that you're on a date, and that's good that you are not on your phone, because you should not be on your phone on a date.
I didn't see you in Philly, Queen. You said you was coming to Philly. I didn't see you, or did I? Were you there? I'm not sure. You know, so I would say really look at the 52 Date Night Challenge. Really understand the difference
and actually,
between...
anybody who wants the 52 Date Night Challenge ebook, if you just say a comment, just say, put ebook in the comment, we'll send it to you.
Yeah.
Because it's just the idea. People talk about it a lot now as conscious courting.
That's
and
cool. I was
dating
just looking for you, Queen.
Stuff like that. But it's just how you are really, like Montsho said, building intimacy. It's the spiritual aspect of your relationship is to build intimacy. So you have a reason to come together. But I think sometimes we're like Glo said, you're maybe thinking about, I'm entitled to something. And you are, but you should be giving it to yourself first. Hopefully you got it from whoever helped to raise you, so that you don't feel like every single person who shows some interest in you
get that money,
owes
Queen.
you a lot. You know, like if you think if you believe that you want a gift, then that's what you want, you know. But you should say to yourself, what does this really mean? Because especially when it comes to dinners and experiences, the experience is something that we have that is shared. We're going to talk about it forever.
Right.
And if it was good or if it was bad. So on the whack dates, we're going to make jokes about that. And on the good dates, we're going to be, you know, happy and glad that we spent that time together. And it turns into, it kind of like enfolds back into the relationship as something that we can... It's something new, like that sprouts other, you know, loving energy between us.
Right.
But if I am holding the fact that I just want to use someone, if that's the energy that I'm bringing, like, well, you better take me out, and you got to have this kind of car, and you got to have this, this, and this, it really doesn't mean what you think it does. And I'm going to tell you, if you're a young woman listening, when you put that energy out, what happens is everyone can sense that.
Yeah,
so no
and you go in the whack list
that you you know,
care how fine you
entertained
are.
Or how much
on the
you
whack
get
list.
certain kinds of gifts or taken out. Every relationship is being met at the same level. So when you put out that I just want someone to do something for me, I deserve this, a man has to spend this, he has to, you know, if it's not this, I'm not going.
Right.
What happens is the person kind of knows that vibe, whether you actually say it out loud or not, and then they are also using you for something. So I'm saying, if I want my husband to give me a trip and we go to Egypt, if Montsho pays for the trip, that's great. If he spent,
which I did,
$7,000,
I lost $7,000. That's a whole nother story. Don't start. I might start shaking in here. I lost $7,000.
That is another story.
Yeah.
But if he buys the trip for us, I would be grateful. I'm not saying, you know, I'm not going to love him. Talk about
a bomb date.
More because he spent a certain amount of money. That's the point. What I'm saying is I'm not going to, I love my husband. And when we were dating, I loved him, I was interested in him based on what we were talking about, what I felt how I felt we could grow together. And that
Right.
includes great
Uh-oh.
trips. And then even the funny dates that were not so good, we still talk about them. We still laugh about it. It's part of our experience.
Oh, very nice.
Which is this
Dawn
one.
Lynn.
A date?
Yeah, she
Let's
said the
see.
best date I ever had was in college, which was long ago. My guy caught the bus and we went grocery shopping for ingredients to prepare me a fruit salad. And then caught the bus to my house. He prepared the fruit salads. We dined on my mom's living room floor and chatted for hours while playing cards. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I think that, listen, I would love to take the pressure off of men and women. Don't be out there, brothers, like trying to fake impress somebody.
don't do that.
You know what I'm saying? You got on some shit you don't normally wear. And it's nothing wrong with dressing up for a
You
date.
should
It's nothing
dress.
wrong with it's nothing wrong with that. Don't get me wrong, but you're
Don't
presenting
pretend.
yourself
Don't pretend.
in a false way. Always present your best self, and especially when you're married. You know what I mean? Your mate is coming home or whatever. Look like something. Straighten up. Go look in the mirror. Make sure you are being presentable. It's a little gift that you could give to your mate when you're living together. But I'm just saying that don't put on airs that that become very disenchanting when you can't live up to it. Don't be disingenuous. I mean, I've been out before. Nwasha and I have been in beautiful restaurants, and I see somebody who's clearly on the first date, and they just stank. Now I'm talking about the sisters. Just stank. Like, this ain't really all I thought it was, and da 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 da. And I'm just looking like, you know what I mean? We really have to be more thoughtful than that. Why are you out with this person? Men don't be fake. Sisters don't be only a receptacle looking to receive what you can get on a date. A lot of times sisters get a bad rap about being gold diggers and being caught up on money and superficiality. I think I agree with Nwasha that I think a lot of it comes from the abuse that sisters get. But then there is some value, there is some truth in it. Like Glow said earlier, we're really dealing with a value system that's not our own. And history has shown that it's detrimental to us. So I would ask, other than what is the best date you went on, what is your belief system about dates? Because then that determines what you think is a good date or not. What is your belief system about dating, courting, and mating? And where did you develop that belief system from? Those are good questions for you to look into yourself for some introspection.
I mean, if you haven't had a good date, or you can't remember the last good date, what we can tell, or you can tell your belief system, even if you just said, what would make a great date right now? But what would make a good date? If somebody's going to take you out tomorrow, what would be a good date? So, like, I like to eat. Montsho doesn't necessarily like to eat the way that I do. So many of my dates have been around food. But it's something that I enjoy that I just want to share with him. And if it's good, it's good. If it's not, it's not. But we've tried different kinds of foods from all over the world. Like, we've had different kinds of experiences based on the date. So I'm not even the kind of person who, I'm a vegetarian, first of all. So not that vegetables can't be expensive, but it's not going to be the,
some of the places
$50.
you go to.
Only because I like a
We
buffet
come out of there
style.
with a
I
$300
try a lot
bill.
of things. I sample.
Man,
I sample.
I thought, damn, vegetables, I'd go to the produce market. I'm a ball for a month for
But again,
a
it's the
season
experience.
for $300.
I'm also not. I know sometimes people are just scaling down the menu to order the most expensive thing just to see what the person will say.
There's a
And
value. There's a whack value system, a measurement. You know what I mean? And I'm saying this: Black women, you are divine. You're worth the world, but not immediately. That's something you have to earn. No, you are in yourself.
Yes,
you're in yourself. You are.
From the moment of
but in the
conception.
relationship, in order for you to be the best of the best, and it's the first 2 or 3 dates, man, stop that. That's fairy taleism. And men, for you to be flawless and just perfect, that's superheroism. Stop that. Stop it.
I don't.
Nicole
think it's,
Brinkley. Well, we agreed to disagree.
Fairy tale. Yeah, we're gonna
We
agree
agree to disagree.
When you are of the age to start courting, you should have. Now, see, this is where you need a rite of passage. We all need rites of passage because we have not learned how to prepare to start to court. If my daughter is courting at 21, 23, I think she should take the walk. I think she should also
Your
take the
first
trip.
date should be at our house with the family.
That's
no,
what
real talk.
No, that's what it's going to be. But that's
and then
not,
go to his house with his family.
That's the first date.
That's
date.
dating.
Ideally,
for young people.
That is.
I see these people dressing a 16-year-old girl up like she going to damn red carpet somewhere in a fantasy Hollywood and some, that all that fake stuff from Bad Boys where Will Smith and that was funny. That was definitely a funny routine. But the reality is, I heard T.D. Jakes say one time, or somebody read this to me one time. I don't really read T.D. Jakes, but I respect him a lot. And somebody had said to me, that he said, don't try to intimidate a young man. I see all these pictures with dudes with shotguns and all of that. If you're treating your daughter right, her value system is high, right? So invite the young man in. Let him have dinner with the family. Let him see how y'all are. Do you got mismatched dishes? What is your family conversation like? You know what I'm saying? Like, let him be entertained by a family and let him see that the young lady comes from love. Don't try to, you can't scare these young men today with no damn gun. If you did that scene today that they did from Bad Boys, he'd probably pull out his damn gun. You know what I mean? So we can't scare our young men or try to scare our young men into that. But the first date, I tell women all the time, you cannot, in the courting phase, you cannot do it by yourself. So you should have, and not just a girlfriend, your girlfriend, you should have a man with you. And brothers, you should have a sister with you.
Have had the when
you are courting.
This young lady is 25 years old. So if you're like
from
our
the article,
son, if you're our son or you're somebody who is in their early 20s, if you're on a college campus, you might have had a date at the bookstore after class. So it's not realistic that the very first date is going to be you.
No, I'm not talking
home.
about your first date with an individual man. I'm talking about your first date. Most people are having their first date. Remember when Kyrie was trying to date? He was trying to date a young lady, and they said, I didn't mean to put my son's name out there, but my son did it right though. I liked how he did it. He did it better than I did. The family, and I won't say the family's name, but they're a beautiful family. They invited him on the date. They said, if you want to date our daughter, you need to come to our house. Hey, make sure you bring something for the family. Come to our house, sit down, eat dinner with us, watch TV with us, and then you can get some alone time with her where you and her could just talk, and then we'll drop you off home where your parents can pick you up.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm saying by the time you are in your early 20s, your regular introduction to dating and your rite of passage and how to date, what is a good date, who is responsible, who else is accountable, and not in evaluating whether or not the relationship should go further.
Peace.
You should have had that before you were 21 or 25.
That's what I'm saying.
So I'm saying by the time you have a first date at 25, you should have, we call it like archetypes. Like when I move, I still have my grandmother's voice with me, my mom's voice with me, my girlfriend's voice with me, my sister's voice with me, my dad's voice with me, my husband's voice with me. I have all of those things that are, this is how you're really harmonizing a personality. If you are exchanging in any relationship, you are getting better. You're perfecting your character. By the time you're 25, ideally, you may have been dating for 10 years or understanding the courting process from the time you became a teen in that 14 to 21. And now you're out wherever you're living on your own, having
psychotic.
a date. That's it.
You got your grandmom's voice and your mom's voice running in your head. We got classic hip hop songs. Never trust a big butt and a smile.
Gosh. But the difference is I had a rite of passage. Now I had it late.
Right.
But I had a rite of passage at 20.
Right.
That was formal and cultural. Now what I'm saying is we are strong advocates for rite of passage in general, but specific to relationships because that's what we talk about. That's what our mission is.
Right.
We really need to heal that area of our lives. Even when we're in our 40s, we missed a rite of passage. So we have unrealistic ideas about relationships with each other as friends, relationships even, under oppression, relationships in a mate, relationships with our children. We have unrealistic ideas about what a relationship is. That's what I just said under pressure.
Yeah. Yes. But, I agree. I agree totally. Rites of passage is very critical and important. And the issue of dating, I think this was a great thing that this young sister put out her opinion. Says she doesn't want to do Groupon. I would be interested to see what her situation is 10 years from now. I wish her the best.
I think a guy's going to ask her out like this month. And he's going to use a Groupon.
Just because she said that?
Yeah, I think that she's going to meet someone who
But see, that would
creative.
That would be, in my opinion, that would be a man playing a game of striving to really prove to you that I mean, for as many times as we use Groupon on dates, I have never used a Groupon.
But Montsho doesn't
that's just not my flow.
Use the internet.
So I don't use the internet like that. You know what I mean? I don't. Hey, mom. I don't use the internet like that when it comes to dating, especially. So I really listen to the brotherhood. If a man tells me, this is a great place to go, this is a great place to take your queen to, and you'll have a good time. I've been telling brothers in the Mercer County area, you want to go on a $25 date that will blow you. It just depends on what you into. We like nature. We like natural things. We like art. We like those things. So one of the hot places for us, and I don't want to give them a plug, but I got to do it, the Sculpture Grounds in Hamilton. It's beautiful out there. We have spent, 6 hours out there.
If you like art, if you like
nature. if you and you like to move around in different sceneries. They got a live peacock farm. It's peacocks walking around. So that's a beautiful date. And they have 4 restaurants on the ground, so you can actually eat there. That's a beautiful date for us. For some people, that might not be their flow. I know my mom is a jazz enthusiast. She's a musical person. We had a great time with her in Philadelphia last year. So it really depends on what you into.
Are free. So again,
that was a free event.
Depending on what city you live in, we're in an urban area. There's a lot of events that
Cousin
are free.
Keish, what's up?
Especially in the warmer weather, you can go to a beach, you can do different activities. I just think it's saying something when there's a generation of people. Every generation changes, but what I've noticed with a lot of young people, because I work in a college, so I'm definitely around a lot of 20-somethings. I recognize that sometimes younger people, we're just living in a space and time that's more superficial, and that is about showing off in a certain kind of way. So even social media, although we love it to connect with like-minded people from around the entire world, sometimes some of them, I'm going to go to dinner and I'm going to post my meal before I taste it and even see if it's good or not. Some of that is we're just taking pictures, or we're just showing off, or we got our date dress on, or like Montsho said, we're just going out just to go out and say, hey, I'm on this date. You don't even like the person. I think some of that is like some of the tone that she had. But someone's going to take her out. The majority of the time that I have used a group, Montsho doesn't even know until I tell him that's all on Groupon. Yeah. So it's not
I don't
like
even
this
care.
flash.
If it's not my date and I pay for it, I don't even care. You know what I mean? Long as it's in our budget and it's what she wanted to do. I can tell you from being together for many years, it really is important to keep your creativity and the life and energy to create variety in your relationship. Variety is one of the 6 basic human needs, and it's one of the reasons why people have affairs, because they feel the relationship has got mundane, and something that offers newness they dive into. I'm always interested to see what Nwasha came up with. So when she does tell me that, hey, this originally would cost $300, but I'm getting it for $60, that's great, you know what I mean? And so I love when she's able to do that.
Our rules for date night,
because we definitely have rules of budget. So if we have
rules of what is the budget from our household for a date, then we're saying that this is what it is, and that's the majority of the time, except for the times that we go completely off a budget and just do whatever we want to do. So it ranges all the way from free to, like Montsho said, it could be thousands of dollars if we just decided to do something. So I just think
Glow dropped a bomb right there. Go ahead. Did I cut you off? Forgive me.
If you want the date night book where we talk about how to really go into conscious courting and how to make sure you can keep track or hit all the senses, as soon as we're done, we're going to log off in like a minute. We're going to inbox you the ebook. So
that's it. I just wanted to say dating, mating, and courting are three different things. I wanted to say that everything is different when it comes to black people. So this article that Nwasha shared with me, she read it while she was out. She texted it to me, and we started conversation. She said, hey, let's talk about it tonight. We've been going for a minute. So we back doing our videos weekly. I also wanted to say I'd be remiss without saying that, we wanted to send everybody out our thanks and support for the abbreviated Coma Day. So much love for the passing and life celebration of our son. And we back. We're moving forward as best we can, and we're grateful to all of you. But continue this conversation. Single people, this is a very, very, very important conversation. Married people, this is your marriage. If you don't effectively date in your marriage will be over. And I always say this, for anybody who's ever been divorced, I have a lot of good friends who've been married and been divorced, remarried, or deciding to do it, single for a while. That's all peace. When your relationship breaks up, say you've been together and you break up after 10 years. I always say, take your relationship that ended and cut it in half. The person who left the relationship, they've been breaking up with you. They've been leaving the relationship for half of the relationship. So in other words, if you've been together for 20 years and then you get a divorce, somebody's been unhappy for at least 10 years, at least, maybe even longer. And so whatever down the line. So whatever the number is, cut it in half and just know that person has stayed around unhappy, unfulfilled, hoping or wishing that there was something that could be done. And we know this from the clients that we deal with. We hear it all the time. It's always, we've been unhappy for half of this relationship. So I would say to you all, dating is very important. Know the difference between courting and mating and dating, because they are not the same thing. But it is a very important subject. I'm glad that BET put this article out. The young girl, I know they do real surface, superficial stuff, but it starts stimulation and it starts conversation. I thought that people had good opinions on both sides. Some people said, hey, I'm with it. My friend Jessica said, yeah, I'm not feeling that. So everybody has their opinion, and there is really no right or wrong. We're just looking at it as students of relationships and teachers of relationships. That's what we are. The Art and Science of the Acoma House Initiative. I'm done.
And so am I.
Okay. so keep the conversation
also,
going.
let us know anything else, any other relationship conversation. We have a couple that we are planning to share and start our email list back up. So let us know if there's anything else that you want to talk about in general. But we're coming out with our full thesis on the culture of love. And the fact
culture of love, Glow. It's official, brother.
Culture of love is. Our next video is going to be on the culture of love. We're going to talk about something we mentioned, like rite of passage. Some of the reasons why we have trouble in our relationships right now are because we don't have the correct cultural lens on which to view everything. So we're going to say this, what the culture of love is, and outline it, and then speak
what it is. I want to say, I talked to Nwasha about this last week, and I've been getting this a lot. I get this. Like, she doesn't get this. I don't know why, but I get this a lot. So I want to hear from these chocolate caramel relationships on colorism in your relationship. So, people come up to me and say the craziest stuff about. It's
going to turn into another.
I'm not going to go there now, but I just wanted to put it out there because people say the craziest stuff to me about the fact that I'm dark skinned and she's light skinned. And so, even like a lot of TV stuff that we've done, or, that we're working on something big right now, that's a whole nother conversation. But I just hear that a lot. And so, I know that has something to do with the slave mind. I know that has something to do with standards of beauty and all of that. Antonio, what's up, brother-in-law? Happy birthday to the twins. So I just, that's just something that I'm throwing out there. If anybody's interested in dropping some jewels, as I start researching and getting my thoughts together around it, just inbox me, inbox us. And that's it. It's just good to see y'all. It's good to communicate. We've been in the, in the womb, but the cocoon, we starting to come out as butterflies. It's spring. So, still definitely devastated in mourning, but we're happy to see you all. So, hey, Dawn Lynn
Enjoy
says
your
she has a
dates.
concern about colorism too. Okay, Dawn, let's talk about it. We're going to get into that.
Yeah, maybe Monday.
Maybe next
Tomorrow.
week sometimes.
Tomorrow's our card day, but
Yeah.
open it up.
We're going to get
Maybe
into
on
that
our
colorism.
date.
Yeah, because
On our date.
it's really sickening, So, all right, y'all.
Peace.
As always, we greet you in peace, and we say,
Nia Koma.
Nia Akoma. Hotep.